So today we have Billie-Jo and Teddy from Andraste&Co Theatre Company, and they're here to tell us about a production that they are releasing a crowdfunding campaign for. So, hello Billie-Jo and hello Teddy. How are you? You
Hello.
okay?
Yes, good, thank you. You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. How's the lockdown treating you?
It's okay.
This one any better than worse than the other million that we've had?
It's so. I'm
Yeah.
a frontline worker, so I've been working throughout all of
Okay.
lockdowns, but this one seems to be a lot quieter than the other ones.
Yeah. So whereabouts are you both based at the moment?
I'm based in Bath,
Yeah.
and I work in a care home that's in Bath as well.
Oh, lovely. And Teddy?
I'm based in Bristol. I work part-time in retail in Bath, but obviously furloughed. And I'm also part-time sort of like a creative freelancer with a charity in Bristol called Creative Youth Network.
Oh, lovely. That's really great. Really cool. So how's it been with you both being in kind of two different locations to put this crowdfunding together?
Oh, well, Billy's the admin person. Billy is basically in charge of everything, and then she just goes, Ted, I need you to do this, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, she's been great on just sort of organizing everything and making sure that we have like weekly meetings and weekly chats to make sure that we're both on the same page about things. It hasn't been as hard as I thought it was going to be, actually. I thought it would be a lot more difficult, but I think everyone's so used to communicating online now, it's just second nature.
So there's just been a lot of Zoom calls.
Yeah. Tell you what, yeah, we could probably make shares in Zoom at this point.
Yeah, well, they're definitely doing well out of everything, aren't they? So for everyone listening, it'd be great if you could tell us a bit about your company and how it kind of formed and the sort of work that you kind of do. Either one.
Yeah, so we formed because Teddy and I met in our first year of university and lived together for the full 3 years. And Sparkfest, which is a big thing of being in your third year and doing acting at Bar Spa, you get to be part of Sparkfest. And so I wanted to be a director. I wanted to put my own show in there. And then in second year, I realized I'm not really good at being a director and I shouldn't do that. But Ted had just wrote a play called Milk that she wrote in China, where she went with her philosophy course. And I said, hey, do you want to share my Sparkfest slot? We'll put on your play. I'll be in it. And then you direct it. And it's kind of the best of both worlds. And she was like, of course. Why would I not do that? And then we kind of thought, well, why don't we make a company to do this? And then make it our company's thing, and we'll audition people around kind of that basis.
What made you decide to do it as a company then, rather than kind of putting it on as the director is putting their show on or all of that sort of thing?
I think it was that this is the best way to get work in the industry, is to just make your own. So as an actor, I'm like, I want a good solid basis to get work regularly, and Ted wants to write and direct things regularly, so we thought, why not collaborate and then constantly make our own work for ourselves?
Yeah, because there's a lot of people, when they're creating a company, it's so they have that name, so everything is kind of consolidated into one thing, so people know that the work that these people create are from that company is what they create. So that's really interesting. So Teddy, how did it come about? So you wrote Milk in China. How was that, and did the story come from being there, or how was it? If you tell us a bit more about Milk.
Yeah, so I went vegan just before going to uni, about a year before. So I've always been very, very active in the movement. I used to go to slaughterhouse vigils and stuff, which is quite intense, but I've always sort of wanted to know the bad bits about what I'm protesting. And I went to China for 3 weeks as part of my summer school with my philosophy side of my course, because I did philosophy and drama. And, you know, it was great, incredible experience. However, I was really, really shocked about their views on meat and their practices. So we'd go into restaurants and there'd just be tanks of fish, and you could just go and choose your fish, and then, you know, they'd kill it, and then it would just be the whole thing on the table in front of you. And we as Westerners are so detached from that, completely detached from that. And it just sort of really got the ball rolling. I was just sort of like, well, how can I get that sort of point across? How can I make people think about where their meat's coming from and where the downfalls in the industry are, without sort of just preaching at them? Because I'd done that in past protests and stuff like that, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So yeah, I just was like, I'm just going to write a play, and I'm going to make the cows women, and it's just going to be completely humanized. And yeah, it just happened.
Yeah, that's really amazing. That the power of putting your opinions through theatre as a way of amplifying it, kind of more successfully than what you would expect from a protest and that sort of thing. That's really interesting, and kind of, isn't that what is amazing about theatre, and that it can actually do that? That's really cool.
Yeah.
So who is the production for then? So who's kind of your target audience for it?
So what we found from various like adverts and stuff like that, our audience mainly is like 16 to 24 years old. So ideally our play, as our debut play, is for people who are still in education. So like GCSE all the way through to degree level, to be like, hey, we wrote a play and we put it on. But obviously we tackle some pretty sensitive issues in all of our work. That's what we aim to do. So that's why we kind of capped it at 15, because we don't want to forcibly like make impressions on people who should be making their own decisions. But that's kind of where our main audience is. It's people who are our age, people who are like us and are passionate about the world. And yeah.
That's really amazing. So the production, so it started in Sparkfest, and was that it wasn't the full length play, was it? It was an extract from it?
Yeah, it was just the first 15 minutes of the play. It's a 40-minute play, and we thought we're only going to be able to do it as a rehearsed reading, because that was the first lockdown and nobody knew the power of online theatre as much as we do. So we thought nobody's going to sit through 40 minutes of a rehearsed reading. So we're like, we'll save the aggro and we'll do the first 15 minutes, because then it doesn't give anything away. But it still gets people's interests and puts across like that we're serious about talking about this issue.
That's really great. And then, so I'm assuming the full play is now written, and so what's the plans with it now? So we'll talk about the crowdfunder a bit more in detail after we've had a little break. But just to finish, so yeah, how what's the plan for the play after the crowdfunder?
Do you want to talk about this, Ted?
Yeah, so the plan is to get a recorded version of it out, basically, because we're trying to be realistic. Theatres aren't going to be opening back up and just accepting anyone to put plays on. So we want to hire out a space, get a recorded version of it, and send it out to people who want to see it. I think it would be a really, really powerful way of, you know, making theatre more accessible as well, because we'd be giving it away, not giving it away, but we'd be giving out copies for relatively cheap as well, because this is something that we're really, really passionate about, and we want to get it out to people, you know. So yeah, we're just going to try and get something recorded, hopefully by summer. Fingers crossed.
Fantastic. Great. Well, we'll leave it there for a second, and then we'll come back and we'll chat a bit more about. I want to chat a bit more about that, making it digital, because that's something that we're really talking about a lot at the moment. And we'll talk a bit more about the crowdfunder. Well, welcome back. We have Billie-Jo and Teddy from Andraste&Co Theatre Company, and we were chatting about their production that they've got called Milk. That started out as a rehearse reading for Sparkfest last year, and now they're starting to launch a crowdfunding campaign to get the production out there for everybody to see. And they mentioned in the first half that they are making the show digital to make it more accessible for everybody. And I thought we'd just delve into that a bit further. So how are you looking at doing that? So what's kind of the form of the play? Is it how many actors and that sort of thing have you got within the show?
So it's 4 actors. It's a really, really small cast, quite minimalist set. So it's supposed to emulate like a farm and like a farming shed. There's sort of like 2 distinctive different settings within that. So it'd be pretty easy to record. It's just about finding the space. And we luckily have such a great network of friends who can do stuff, like we know people who do lighting, we know people who can film and edit. So, you know, we've got really, really good backing behind us, which, you know, connections help everything.
Yeah, they definitely do. And are you looking at making it the stage show on screen, or are you adapting it in any way, or have you adapted it?
No, it's going to be like a filmed version of the play. So sort of like very National Theatre-esque in how they've been putting out work and plays. We want to do it very much like that, sort of keep the gist and the essence of theatre, but just get it sent out in a film.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really great. So you're doing this and being able to put this on is due to the crowdfunder that you're announcing. So what made you decide to do a crowdfunder as your as a way of funding the production?
Well, as our first production, we know that friends and family are going to be a big part of the funding of this. As it is, it's your first project, here you go, we'll help. But it also gives us a chance to learn about funding after that. Because once your first show's over, the magic of doing it is not there. You're going to have to rely on real people who want to support you. So we want to do this because at the moment, supporting theatre and people seeing that is such a big thing. People want to support like people creating things because there isn't really anything. Things are like creative content is pretty low at the moment. Even from big companies, they're just releasing things that they've already filmed, that they've already released before. So we wanted, because this is not the first time we've put it on, we wanted to actually be able to pay the people that work for us. Instead of just saying, hey, in lockdown when money's already tight and the last thing you want to do is prioritize theatre over a proper job that pays you, can you do it for free? We were like, no, we actually want to pay people. And we do understand that this means putting our own money into it. We've kind of talked about that from the beginning. But yeah, we want to be able to pay people and obviously hire spaces and things like that. But we want to treat this like a proper show that we're going to put on. And this is going to be our real debut piece. It's going to look slick.
It really is so important to for people to pay people. And it sounds kind of a no-brainer, but we find it a lot in the theatre industry that doing things for profit share when the inevitability, and if you look at the kind of the trajectory of the show, it probably won't be making huge, so you are essentially doing it for free, and we've got to pay our way. And if you're there's a point when you're going do things for free to get work, but the moment you start to get work, you need to make the decision that you're not going to do that anymore, and you need to be paid for the stuff that you're trained to do. It's a vocational profession. You've got to do that. So it's really great to hear that that's at the forefront of why you're doing the crowdfunder. So how much is that you're looking to raise?
I think that's the big question. What would be, oh goodness. I don't even know. me like even 100, even like £2 would be great. Thank you, everybody. But we'd probably be looking at like £200 as a general goal. We don't, because it's only a 40-minute play, we know that the time spent is not going to be that long. There's only 4 people. I will be one of them because I can. So that kind of benchmark is where we're looking, because then we can invest our own money into it as well, to hire out spaces and pay people to do work. But obviously any more of that will be great. We can pay people more or for travel, but also we can invest that back into other projects.
And talking of other projects, you've got one that you're planning to do for Sparkfest this year. So that's a new play. We can briefly just chat about that. Don't release too much if it's all under wraps, who knows. But yeah, if you just want to quickly mention that show.
Yeah, so this is sort of like in the works because of the freelancing work that I'm doing. Alongside that, we sort of come up with a project that we get to debut at the end of sort of like our time there. And I'm writing a series of monologues on the topic of domestic violence and domestic abuse. It's something that's, you know, so prevalent to the world. It happens everywhere, right under people's noses, but it is completely taboo. And I want to sort of give strength back to the people who have suffered and who have, you know, survived. I really, really want to put the power back in their hands, but to also shed light on the good and the bad and the funny and the sad that all come with domestic abuse within, like, you know, the family and within friends, and witnessing it. And, you know, I was a child who sort of, like, my mum was in a domestically abusive relationship, so, you know, it is something that is really, really personal to me, and I'm sharing a bit of my story and, you know, a lot of other stories of people that are close to my heart as well. So yeah.
Wow, that sounds like it's going to be really, well, not great in the sense of what it's about, but that sounds like it's a really, really, really important. And are you looking at doing that digitally, or is that potentially going to be live in person?
Hopefully live would be ideal, but obviously it's all dependent on circumstance. But because it is monologues, it's a lot easier to do digitally than a play, as, you know, everyone talking to each other and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was one of the first things that like the BBC did. They went and did their talking heads, like Alan Bennett's talking heads, because they were like, it's one actor, and they're really powerful. Monologues can be really powerful. So you're delving into a really great form there. So just to round up, where can our listeners kind of engage with your work, and where will they be able to see the crowdfunder to donate? Because we want everybody to donate.
Yes, so we are most active on our Instagram. It's at Andraste&Co. But we also have a website, so all the links will be on there. We'll probably make a little link tree on our Instagram as well to access the crowdfunder straight away. And we'll make a little Facebook page, because everything's more official with a Facebook page.
And when is the crowdfunder going live?
It is going live on the 1st of February this year.
1st of February. So as we're recording this, obviously prior, that will be tomorrow, I assume. So
yes, it will.
The 31st. How funny. Finally, what we like to do is we like to give some advice to kind of local creatives about if they've kind of got any trepidation about going into a creative industry because of the times that we're in. What would you say to a person that wants to be an actor, wants to be a director, but are kind of a bit worried? What would you say to them?
Oh, I would just say go for it. Like, there's no point in waiting just because the time's not right, because there's never going to be a perfect time. You're never going to feel completely secure. You're never going to be like, oh yeah, I can just, you know, quit my day job and I'll be famous tomorrow. You know, that is never going to happen. It is just all about how hard you work and what you put into it, and that's that.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing I learned once graduating was the phrase, trust the process. just means trust your process. Trust that you have the right amount of training, you have put the right amount of work into the thing that you are doing, and you just got to trust yourself and do it and have as much fun as you can, and trust that you have put all the work into it, because you'll soon be told if you haven't.
Yeah, everyone's different. Everyone's got their own way of doing it, and it's every way is their way and the correct way for them. So that is lovely. Well, thank you so much, Billie-Jo and Teddy. We will
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks.
thank you so much. And we'll leave it there. Please, everyone, donate to them. It sounds like it's an amazing show, and all their work that's coming up is really important. So please do check out all their stuff.